I'm glad I didn't see it coming.
What a pleasant surprise.
Here we go.
We're counting on you, Joker. Yes! Bullseye!
Dude, that rules.
Persona 5 Royale is a 2020 game that's sort of a remake or reimagining of the 2017 game and the excellent 2017 game of that, Persona 5, created by Atlus. Persona has always been a PlayStation exclusive. As of now, the past games have pretty much just been on PlayStation devices. I know recently they put Persona 4 Golden on the Steam store and stuff, and they're thinking about putting it on different things, future releases and future titles. But for the time being, Persona 5 is only available on PlayStation. As I mentioned before, this is sort of a re-release of the 2017 game Persona 5. I'm sure you've mostly heard of Persona 5. This is Persona 5 Royale. And I normally would buy this game straight away. Anything Persona related, especially Persona 5 related, as I'll get into, I normally would be on that shit straight away. This game came out right as the pandemic happened, way back in March, and I completely just forgot about it. And there's other reasons as well that I didn't really pay attention to it. I knew it was kind of coming out this year and stuff, but I didn't really go out of my way to try and grab an early copy, and stuff like that. That's why I'm kind of reviewing it now. But since I haven't really talked about Persona 5 on this channel or done any review, even on the original 2017 version, I'm going to talk about this game as if you've never heard of Persona 5 for the kind of first half of it. The second half, I'll talk about the new things that are introduced in Persona 5 Royale for people who have possibly already played the earlier title. Persona games are JRPGs. They are RPGs, kind of JRPGs through and through, but they have a unique kind of twist to every game that has been out in the Persona series. And Persona 5 is not a really easy game to explain to people to why it's so good. I'm sure if you've heard of Persona 5, never played it before, you know that the people who have, or you've seen news publication sites or games websites, have talked about this game as like a amazing game, one of the best games ever on PlayStation. But there's something about it, and especially the way it looks, that may be off-putting for a lot of people. I know that's the case with a lot of people that I've recommended this game to, is that the anime style, the very, very much anime style, and the very quirkiness to it is something that puts people off when they see this game. One of the best things about Persona 5 is its sense of style. This game is like a classy game in a way. It knows it has a sense of style to it. It has this real kind of cartoonish comic book style to everything in the game itself, in battles, in cutscenes. But especially for me personally, I have a sense of attraction to those kind of games. Like Yakuza and Persona games for me are just games you don't get from elsewhere in the world. And I absolutely freaking love them so much because they have this sort of style that you just don't see anywhere else in any other game. It's probably the hardest thing to describe to people is Persona games and why they're so interesting when you start off with the line of, well, you go to school and you get a part-time job and you read books and you listen to music and you hang out in the arcade and go to dinner and you... I know I sound weird talking about this game But the way it works is essentially your downtime. So when you're not going to school and you're not doing your grades and all this kind of stuff, and you have to kind of follow a schedule and you have to kind of live a life. And that's the kind of thing about Persona. You are just managing your time. And a large part of Persona is time management, is deciding what to do on certain days. So if you've got exams coming up, you kind of have to think, oh, I should study for that and get my stats up in my knowledge and stuff. And you have stats for a lot of different things. Okay, so that's one part of it. I've got that out of the way. I know it sounds weird, but bear with me. Just bear with me a minute. So that's one part of it. The other part of Persona is you are parts of the Phantom Thieves, which are a group of individuals from the school, a secret society, if you like, that, again, this is going to sound weird, but you got to stay with me here, that they go and they steal people's hearts. What that means is the Phantom Thieves, the secret society that you eventually get brought into, are trying to change the hearts of people that are doing shit things in the real world. When I mean the real world, the way they do this is going into an alternative universe where everyone's fantasies and what they actually feel about people is shown. I don't think I'm going to explain it that much because it is a hard one to describe to people. There's a lot of things in terms of how the lore of Persona works and how everything works in terms of its, in terms of the universe and everything else, the multiverse, and there's all sorts of different things. It's a hard one to describe, but if you want the bare bones explanation of it, there's a turn-based RPG and then there's a social game. But the thing about it is the two of them combined are just as important as each other. But the thing about it is it's going to be very hit and miss for people because there's that barrier to get into Persona 5 to convince people that this is a good game to check out. And even if you look at the game, you may think, oh, it's not for me. And even if you're doing what I'm doing, trying to describe it to people, they immediately go, what? It's a what? Social game where you try to make friends and get a part of, like, people immediately would just be like, nah, it's definitely not for me. And I was like that before I even played a Persona game. What makes Persona 5 so goddamn good is it feels like my new favorite anime TV show that I binge watch every week or so, especially when I started playing this game. It didn't feel like a video game. It felt like I was watching some sort of show that I really, really liked. And I think that comes down to a number of different things. The first thing is probably the writing and the story that they usually tell in Persona games. Persona 5 is over 100 hours long. That's not to do completionist territory or anything like that. That's the main game. That it will take you over 100 hours. So it's like sitting down with a box set of an anime or TV show anime, whatever, a cartoon anime. And I'm watching seasons 1 to 16. But just like with the best games that are extremely goddamn long, like The Witcher 3, for example, they have a unique way of keeping you entertained for those whole 100 hours. And Persona 5 is absolutely no different. But most importantly, the word that comes up so much when you're playing Persona in everything it does is the word fun. Fun, fun, fun. I absolutely love when soundtracks and music play such a vital role in video games. You know, like with Doom Eternal and Doom, for like I reviewed earlier this year. That game is a very different game without the soundtrack. And the same can be said with Persona 5. Persona 5's music is so goddamn good and so goddamn upbeat that you can't help but feel happy and just feel like you're having fun all the time, mainly because of the music. And this music is completely different to probably anything you've heard in any other video game, let alone like an action video game. It's upbeat, it's funky, it's got amazing like big band bass lines and amazing singing and soul vocals and just catchy lyrics and catchy hooks and everything. Jesus Christ, the soundtrack is amazing. It's so fun. The soundtrack is fun, guys. Along with the music, you've got like stories and situations that you get put into this game where you really think about a lot of things. This game is very much presented as this groovy, fun, exciting game that makes you think that you're just going to have like this average kind of let's go fight things and yeah, let's go to school and let's go to the cinema and let's go to the restaurant and stuff. But underneath all that, and very cleverly underneath all that, is a very, very, mature young adult game that deals with a lot of real world issues in either society or at schools or even as a young adult or even at people who are in older generations. Like, it deals with a lot of different real world things that make you think. And there's a lot of time playing this game that the thing that got me excited was finding out what the Phantom Thieves were going to do next. Who was their next person that they were going to go after? What was the bizarre and sometimes strange reasons for them trying to change these people's hearts? The reason the Phantom Thieves go after people is because they consider them bad people and they want to try to change their heart. But just like the very famous song in Persona 5, you don't see a lot of this coming. There's a lot of things and a lot of storylines that really just really got to me at times. And because it's such a fun game and such a positive energy game, when it throws in these dark moments and things you don't expect, it hits you like 10 times harder. It really does, because you don't see it. It comes out of left field sometimes. So let's talk about the Royale Edition, because some people, including myself, were very confused by the whole thing. Royale is essentially the 2017 version of Persona, except it adds a lot more things to it. And before you ask, no, you can't buy this as separate DLC. You have to buy the game again, aka you gotta buy Persona 5 Royale to get this content. You can't just have the old 2017 game and buy a DLC on the store or something and add it so you can have all the extra stuff. Can't do that. But, it's 2020 and possibly one of the worst years of our lives. And 2020 does weird stuff to you. And I felt like getting Persona 5 Royale and at least checking it out to see how much of a difference it was. The short answer is I'm extremely happy I got this version. It adds a lot of things. It's not just a character update or a new storyline or a couple of new weapons or anything like that. I'm still kind of pissed off that it's not a DLC thing that you could just have for the original, but okay, fine. So there's a new semester, so essentially an extra part of the end game is available on Persona 5 Royale. There is a new character to join the Phantom Thieves. There's new animations. There's new downtime activities. There's new music. There is a PlayStation 4 Pro upgrade. So if you have PlayStation 4 Pro, it basically plays it in 4K, essentially, the whole thing in 4K. I think overall, quality of life, I would say. Just in general, there's a lot of different tweaks and things and in terms of descriptions that were possibly needed and things that weren't very clear when you started the game. I know I was a bit confused at the start of the game as well. It's a hard sell to even get people to play this game, but even when they play it, it's even harder because you got to stick with it for a couple hours and it clicks. It's much easier this time around, I would say, in the Royale Edition. There's a lot. Like, I'm not kidding. There is a lot of new stuff like this. There's new dialogues and new stories and just extra content, like extra things on top of this already massive game that has so many things to do in it. There's like an extra 10 to 15 hours of storyline stuff in Royale as well, added on top of 100 billion zillion hours. So if you came to me and said, I'm a newcomer to Persona 5, which version do I get? 100% the Royale version. It is the better version. It's got so much and it improves so much on the original. I would say if you've played Persona 5 before and you enjoyed it, then if you want and not planning to buy anything anytime soon, I would definitely get the Royale Edition and replay it again because it will feel like a new experience. I honestly, truly believe that. I already thought Persona 5 was one of the best games on the PlayStation 4, like of all time. I still think that to this day. But Royale has just added so much to an already amazing game. It is now. It is one of the best, like, top 3 games ever made on the PlayStation 4, in my eyes. It honestly is. If you have never tried a JRPG in all your life, and if you've struggled to get into ones in the past, I honestly think Persona 5 Royale may be the thing you need. It's hard to find a game nowadays that makes you just have fun, makes you feel like you're having fun all the time with the game, especially for 100 hours plus. But Persona 5 Royale is that game. I know looking at this game, it may not look the part, and it may just be something you've never tried before ever, or maybe never tried a JRPG or any RPG in all your life. But trust me when I say this, Persona 5 has something in it that you're going to love. It's very rare to play a video game that just makes you feel like you're excited to see what happens every time you boot it up. You know there's going to be a lot of fun, whether it's the humor in this game, whether it's the action, whether it's the battles you got to do and stuff, or figuring out some of the stories of people and some of the dark things as well and trying to understand them, or trying to boost certain stats up and doing that. There's so many just layers. It can get overwhelming. I get that. I get that it can get overwhelming. And I think if there was one thing that most people would say about Persona games is that it's just overwhelming at times. And it just has a lot of things that get thrown at you. And you're just like, wait, what do I do first? Or what do I do next? And I get that. I really, really do. But with Persona 5 Royale, I think they've done a better job of approaching new players into getting them into these kind of games. I know there's JRPGs out there. I know there's different types of them. But there's never been a JRPG, aside from maybe Final Fantasy VII, the original for me, that has grabbed me so much and taken me on such a crazy, crazy, fun, exciting adventure with people who, although on the outside seem to be your standardized anime characters, learning about these people and learning about their past and what their failures were and what's their pros and cons, and understanding how you feel on the subject of a lot of things in this game is truly, truly amazing. And without sounding too cheesy or cringy, and I really at this point don't care how it makes me sound like, because Persona 5 is out fucking standing. It is honestly one of the most incredible video games of the last 20 years, in my opinion. It's one of my favorite games to come out of Japan ever. If you had at least a little bit of an interest, or even if you didn't have any interest in trying out a JRPG for the first time ever, Persona 5 Royale is the game to get. It is the best one in this generation. It is out fucking standing. You know what? It gets a goddamn 10 out of 10. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. If this is your first time watching this video or this channel, please subscribe to the channel and check out the other reviews I do. They're all about games, in case you were wondering, pretty much. And I'm going to be back very, very soon. I'm going to be doing a review of Hades next in a couple of days. A very, very interesting game. If you have not heard about it, do check it out. But thank you very much for watching. Stay safe. See you soon.